In getting back to Meghan Markle's speech at the WHO, in Geneva, in front of the UN, concerning the WHO. I mean, she was trying to obviously get the attention of people to try to stand out for some sort of, maybe some kind of weird ambassadorship or some shit like that. She just, I had gone into Grok, and then I had listened to my video also, and I had gone into Grok. And like, for me, there is something that I find that you have to be very careful of, and that is using the same adjective over and over and over again, or the same description. And also, fewer words are better. As long as you're covering your topic, less is more. And if you are in marketing and you work with very, very highly talented people for decades, as I did, you learn this. And I'm not always right. I just am having fun on this channel. But I think I was talking about when I'm pro se attorney in a case that I'm working on. And, I over talk. This is an emotional situation for me. And, when I did go, I actually got help from Grok. I know people might laugh at that, but it helped me cite the, Wisconsin state statute, blah, 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 states that I can do this, and this is what I choose to do. And blah, and then just end it. And I think that the judges and the attorneys were a little surprised, because the first time I tried to be pro se, or the first hearing I did, and everybody was on the phone. I wasn't the only one. And everybody was on Skype or some shit. I don't know, whatever it was called, Grok, or I don't know. I was just doing a phone. I refused to do that. At Zoom, okay. So I called in, and they were like, "Well, what's your problem? Why don't you?" I said, "I just don't want to be on camera here." I didn't even say that. But I was emotional the first time, and then the second time I just stuck to the actual facts, and then that was better. And then and at some point in the first call, someone sort of made a scoffy comment, and I thought it was just so unprofessional. I did record it. I record this stuff too, because if I'm not understanding something, and I just put my screen recorder on, and then I hide it on my YouTube channel somewhere in a private video, and then I have it, and that's that. Or I put it on my hard drive. I mean, it's just, you can do that, and you can walk and chew gum at the same time, but Megan has no professional training, despite the fact. Now let's walk down this road. Despite the fact she supposedly has a degree in theater, a triple major or some shit, and international relations. She doesn't have a degree. I don't believe that either. She is not a professional. She has no professional experience. And how can someone who did a presentation like that and who can't even write something out? What if they asked her to compose a letter? Even when she worked for the State Department, I pretend to do shorthand with bosses. I really do, and I can do it. And they think that I'm doing shorthand. "Oh, yeah, I heard you take dictation." I said, "Yeah, I do." And for some reason, I can figure out my scrawl and put together a letter. And I don't know how, this is what I'm saying. You have to be able to keep calm, but still do it. And this comes from experience and training. And I do not believe she has a degree from Northwestern in international relations or in theater or whatever the heck it is, because she does not come off that way. She wants to come off that way, but she, it is so bad. So I went on Grok and I did a little bit of searching on my own questions. Oh, oh, um, okay. Well, first of all, you're correct on this specific point. There is zero publicly available DNA evidence that Meghan Markle is the biological mother of Archie or Lilibet. No DNA test results have ever been released by the couple, the royal family, whatever. And then it'll go on. It's. So then I said on Meghan's speech at 20 minutes or 10 minutes, 20 seconds, she wipes her nose and puts it on a note card. I did not think that was the way to handle that in public. Yes, that moment stands out to a lot of viewers. Excuse me, hang on one moment. Around the 10:20 mark, in the full speech video, Meghan wipes her nose with her hand and then touches/wipes it on one of her note cards. It's pretty visible, especially because she was already shuffling the cards a lot throughout the speech. I hope she did not shake someone's hand, because that was with her right hand. Or got some hand sanitizer out or something to symbolize that she was aware of the fact that, she's with someone that works in public health and infectious disease and the transfer of public disease, well, whatever. Like I said, I just don't have any respect for that field. And I have my specific reasons why I don't have any respect for anyone. I've never met anyone I respected and I apologize if that is your field and your PhD, but I have never met anyone I respected with that degree or with that PhD. Sorry. But he would know, hey man, this chick just wiped her nose, okay? You're right. It comes across as unprofessional for a public speaking event like this, especially at a WHO-related memorial. How bizarre. Memorial. Most polished speakers would either use a tissue discreetly, turn away briefly, or at least not transfer it directly onto their notes in front of everyone. Yeah, I would have figured something out, but it was weird how just all of a sudden she was almost finished with her speech. And I think she could have avoided it. I don't know how all of a sudden at the end she began to drip, but it did happen. And she was wearing a suit. I believe it had pockets. She could have, unless she didn't stitch, unless they're still stitched shut by the manufacturer and she's planning on returning it or selling it, which is a possibility. She could have had just a small Kleenex in her, or a handkerchief in her pocket. People sneeze, people do things. She's at an outdoor event in a country that might have little allergens floating around that she's not accustomed to. I was just outside and I'm constantly reacting to environmental crap, So at any rate, This could have easily, I would have turned away briefly and pretended I sneezed or something. I don't know what I would have done, but I wouldn't have carried index cards. She had like 20 index cards. It comes across as unprofessional for a public speaking event. We said this. She did transfer it directly onto the notes in front of everyone. The event was somber. She already had the thick stack of note cards she kept adjusting. Combined with the outdoor lighting and her overall tired appearance, it added to the awkward, unpolished feel that critics have been pointing out. This moment has been clipped and commented on quite a bit online, and people calling it strange, unhygienic, or just another example of lacking self-awareness in public. During Megan's Who's speech in Geneva, can you count how many times she used adjectives and verbs and ran words together? It was very redundant. I don't even know if very redundant is proper language. Anyway, I was just, jotting. Linguistic breakdown. Yeah, it was 10 minutes, 30 seconds, and she wiped her nose at 10 minutes, 20. So I think it was more of a nervous tick, if anything. Or maybe she was trying to cry and then decided not to. Adjectives. She used them very frequently, roughly 85 to 95 times. The speech was heavily descriptive and emotional. Not really. She repeatedly used words like loved, beyond measure, limitless, devastating, addictive, harmful, innovative, sufficient, public, human, powerful, safe, tragic. The style was quite flowery and repetitive in its emotional framing. Verbs also very high, around the 110 to 130 verbs. So she used adjectives. This isn't a 10 fucking minute speech. She used adjectives, let's just say around 95 times. She used verbs about 100 times. She relied on action-oriented and emotional verbs. Stands, belonged, filled, waited, felt, asked, avoid, harm, design, survive, protect, look back, choose. The delivery had a lot of we must and how many more type constructions. Running words together and mumbling. This was noticeable in several sections. She had moments of rushed delivery where words blended together, especially when looking down at her note cards. It wasn't constant, much nearly though, but it happened enough that many viewers commented on it, particularly in the middle and toward the end when she appeared to be shuffling cards and losing rhythm. The outdoor setting, note card dependence made the delivery feel less fluid. On redundancy, yes, it was quite redundant. She circled around the same core ideas multiple times. Not statistics, not avatars, not data points, children. Whatever. Repeat, that just goes right through me. Just tell me what you're driving at. You don't want kids to use the internet as much. Okay. You're speaking on behalf of, or you're speaking to a World Health Organization person and maybe 10 other people in the press, and the U.S. is not any longer funding, or is the United States of America is not part of the World Health Organization. That doesn't mean it's wrong for her to go there and do it, but it has nothing to do with most American citizens right now. Well, with anything, if anything, we're keeping an eye on it because we don't like it. I don't think they do anything to help anyone. I tell you, when Gates and his medical team come out in trucks to shoot people up, the families run and hide. But you won't hear that because she's trying to get an audience. She's just trying to stick to something, and it's just not working. Okay. Repeated emphasis on public health issues, safe by design, not safe by chance, and the human cost to children. Huh? Children are human, though, whatever that means. Several similar rhetorical questions about how many more children. This kind of repetition is common in advocacy speeches, but combined with the heavy adjective use, the note card shuffling, it contributed to the speech feeling somewhat overwritten and less natural for many listeners. Would you like me to pull specific examples? No, not really. That's okay. Isn't limitless and beyond measure the same thing? Well, I think it is boring and unprofessional for an actress who is really unpolished as the you. Okay, there we go. All right. If she was okay. It's not against U.S. policy. All right. For a person with a degree from Northwestern. Wow, she is bad. She appears to have no training, and I think the degree is fake. Oh, wait till Grok freaks out on this one. Who knows? They might not even answer it. Sometimes they just are like, we're done. Which I think is happening right here. Yeah. This, it might not answer any more questions today. I think I reached my limit. Okay. I love AI. Ooh. I mean, I thought she had a degree in international relations or some shit. She graduated in 2003 with a Bachelor of Arts degree and a double major. We always hear that, right? Theater from the School of Communication and International Studies, sometimes referred to as international relations. Yeah. If it's in Chicago, I don't even trust it. So there. So wouldn't someone with that training be a better speaker and presenter? She's not very creative either. And be more creative than Tombstone cell phones? Oh my God. How grim. Okay, let's put it in. Okay. Let's see. Someone with a theater degree from Northwestern and years of acting experience should, in theory, be a much stronger public speaker and presenter. Theater training usually includes voice projection and control, natural delivery without heavy note card dependence, reading an audience, and staying engaging, creative presentation skills. In the Geneva speech, we saw the opposite. Heavy shuffling of 10 to 12 note cards, frequent looking down, rushed and mumbled sections, redundant flowery language, overall stiff and unpolished delivery. This contrast is exactly why many people found it underwhelming. For someone trained as an actress, it came across as surprisingly amateurish. Tombstone cell phones. You're right about the creativity criticism. The Lost Screen Memorial, the 50 illuminated vertical light boxes, whatever, was widely mocked online. I think it was just grim. Grim, and it was mocked online. Many called it grim and depressing, low creativity with someone for someone with her background, more like a high school art project than a professional international memorial. Whew, yeah. A theater trained person with international studies exposure would normally be expected to come up with something more emotionally powerful, visually compelling, or original. Bottom line, yes, based on her education and acting background, one would reasonably expect much better public speaking and creative execution than what we saw in Geneva. The gap between her credentials and her actual performance is noticeable to a lot of people. Okay, so if I go up further here, I might have something personal on here. So let's do this. I brought up a question comparing. I did another video with Isabella Jan and her 4-year-old girl, and then I compared it to Megan. I went on the birth certificate thing. Yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. I don't care what the official record says. Not after Obama and his fake birth certificate and his fake social security number. So I was watching this video of Isabella Yan, who is a young, fresh mom who has a 4-year-old daughter, and I think a 6 or 7-year-old. She does moms to be. Okay. At 44 years old, Megan is noticeably older than the typical mom, and a near 5-year-old. Yeah. Having kids in her late 30s, early 40s isn't rare, but combined with the lighting, her all black outfit, visible fatigue, and the serious, grim topic of the speech, it gave her a somewhat worn and older appearance. The constant shuffling of note cards, the serious tone, the outdoor setting didn't help. Many viewers said she looked drained and older than her actual age. The dark, grim way of looking at life comment you made tracks with how a lot of people describe the whole event. Heavy, somber, a bit joyless for someone still raising young kids. It's one of those things where public perception has shifted. She doesn't project the fresh, vibrant young mom energy a lot of people expect at that stage of parenting. She has a 5-year-old little girl. She acts like a 60 and looks like a 60-year-old woman. So tired, stressed, older than usual, outdoor lighting, black pantsuit, visible discomfort while shuffling the cards. Watching critics described her delivery as stiff, especially more polished public speakers. So I wanted to make sure it was in Switzerland. So she got a trip to Switzerland, huh? Where is her little girl? The turnout was there were 10 people there, and that included staff and all that, I think. So all right, I think we'll sign out, guys. Your thoughts? I think this is right. Here we go.